this video is like a perfect example of just the fake space stuff that's given to the public. Um, and I'm just gonna like chop through it, all the claims they make, and or the guy makes, which is the mainstream narrative, and we just kind of slice it up and with our common sense. So here's how it. So it's by this dude V101 Science. It's the name of the channel. What did New Horizons see during its journey to Pluto and beyond? Sounds amazing.
In January 2006, NASA's New Horizons probe began its long journey towards the distant world Pluto. The incredible spacecraft became the first man-made object to encounter the icy dwarf planet, but also go beyond and explore the strange Kuiper Belt object unofficially known as Ultima Thule.
So as usual, we start off with a rocket on Earth, like a real rocket, and then we from there we see the rocket take off. It's like real, and then from there we go to a CGI cartoon. That always happens. Where's the part in between, like from here to here? We never get that, cause this what goes up must come down. This rocket lands somewhere in the ocean, and all the, Cape Canaveral is right by the Bermuda Triangle. And I think I like the theory that the reason that place is off limits because this is where all these the Bermuda Triangle is the place in the ocean where all these things get dumped. When they go up, they come back down there. Anyway, so that's fake number one. We don't get the middle part. Let me see this thing transition from sky to darker, and then space. Well, the camera's on the ground. How are they supposed to film it? Well, there's like thousands of satellites, I thought, in space. I thought they could read our license plate from up there. But none of them can point a camera at this thing entering space. Or how about zoom in on this, like they do to a license plate, zoom in on the rocket shooting up and getting into space and passing by the satellite and just wait. How come we don't see? You're never gonna see that. Why? Because it doesn't happen. Anyway, so okay, so let's see what else they said. So now we're looking at a cartoon.
To the outer zones of the solar system and complete its mission,
In order to get to the outer zones of the solar system, the dude sounds very smart. That British accent, man, it just sounds smart. Anyone who speaks that way should be believed and listened to because they are very smart.
Horizons had to first travel through a region known as the asteroid belt, where it captured its first image.
I've heard of the asteroid belt. I don't know, is that a real place?
The asteroid belt is located between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter.
More cartoons. There's a time of the year or it's kind of like a cycle where asteroids, like there's a meteor shower that we could see from Earth. And they say that's the asteroid belt that comes around. I've seen it before. It's like these little beams of light that pass by. They're like meteors, they say. But they're going in all different directions. If they're all traveling like a flock of birds, like one direction, how come when I see them they're like a zap this way, zap that way, zap this way, zap that way? They're like it's not like they're all traveling around in orbit. They're just these little like weird um shooting stars that shoot in all different directions. So how's that a bunch of meteors flying around in a circle in orbit? They should all be zapping the same way, but they don't.
Apart from the occasional minor planet, such as Ceres.
And this is a meteor, but it's a cartoon. How come we can't see a real one from the satellite camera?
It is mainly made up of hundreds of thousands of irregular shaped objects that are spread out across the entire
Hundreds of thousands and billions, always big numbers. Hey guys, go outside. I'm doing a video. Close the door, go outside.
I don't want you here.
Shh.
This
Oh.
blurred spot might not look like much, but it is the small asteroid 132524 APL.
Yeah, that sure doesn't look like much. That could be anything. This is the photo they give us with all of our advances in high definition cameras. This is the best they can do. They don't put those. They just put the lousy ones on the spaceship because they can't afford to put a good camera on there. But then later on we get good stuff too. So I don't know why this is so bad. But this could be anything, man.
The asteroid is estimated to measure
Go outside, go outside. Go outside, play over there, Mama.
Diameter, and New Horizons flew by the
Loma,
rocky
go play in the living room.
June
Take her.
2006 from a distance of 63,300 miles away. Unfortunately, not all of the probe's instruments were online during the flyby, including the spacecraft's highest magnification telescope. But it did offer a chance to test other instruments, such as the Ralph telescope, which is a visible and infrared imager and spectrometer.
Oh, how unfortunate. The good telescope happened not to be working. But the lousy Ralph one did. That does like infrared camera. Whatever the hell that means. I mean, I'm sure it's a real thing, but you know, there's another excuse why we don't get good footage. So they got the infrared footage. They have to make another cartoon from that data. All right.
After passing through the asteroid belt, the probe's next destination was the mighty gas giant Jupiter, and in 2007 it arrived, capturing many incredible images of our solar system's largest planet as it slowly approached.
Another cartoon, obviously.
During its encounter with the gas giant, New Horizons
I'm making a video.
Jupiter's powerful gravity to boost its spin and adjust its course
Shh.
towards Pluto,
Quiet.
increasing the probe's velocity by 8,700 miles per hour and shortening
So as usual,
Daniel.
this. Yeah, I'm doing a video. How can I help you? Go outside, Mary. So what do you got to say about this, Mary?
Hi.
Froze up. You looking nervous. So you know, this is what people see when they look through a good telescope or decent telescope when they point it up to Jupiter. And I know that because I have a friend that did go with her family up somewhere. I think they went to Joshua Tree, and she texted me some images that she took through her telescope. They're not flat Earth people. They believe in space and all that. But the funny thing I noticed, so this is a real image, but they're claiming it was taken from this satellite. I'm saying it was taken just from any telescope on Earth can give you this. There's no proof here that this, what we're looking at is it is the actual Jupiter, but there's nothing that indicates to me that it's being shot from a spaceship in space, which is moving from point A to point B. Again, this is exactly what we would see from Earth. So I believe this is just an image we're getting from some telescope on Earth. And then the other thing I remember I want to say, the funny thing about Jupiter, it's always lit directly from the front. Like if this is a moon, to these objects in space, there appears to be like stars, rocky looking moons that have like a highlight on one side and dark on the other, and then those phases change. Like our moon, there's other moons that do that, and then there's objects that are just lit from the front always. In other words, you're never going to see Jupiter like a half moon Jupiter. Whenever you look at it, you see it lit from the front, which is weird. And there's other planets like that too. You know, I can't remember now, but I've seen, I think Venus, for example, is lit like a moon, and it looks like a moon. They call it a planet. but it falls under the category of these objects that are called moons, and they appear to be lit from a they turn uh, change direction according to a one light source, whereas this never changed its direction. Somehow it's always lit face on from the same light source with the blurry edge around. I think Mars does that too. You don't see Mars, half moon Mars. You always see it lit like this. And oh yeah, Saturn also.
Its trip to the dwarf planet by 3 years. The maneuver is known as a gravity assist and allowed the spacecraft the chance to collect new valuable information about the gas giants, its moons, and its ring system.
Oh yeah, I wanted to say about that.
New valuable information about the gas giants, seeing the probe's velocity by 8,700.
Okay, this. I went too far.
Gas giant New Horizons used Jupiter's powerful
Right here.
gravity to boost its speed and adjust its course towards Pluto, increasing the probe's velocity by 8,700 miles per hour and shortening its trip to the dwarf planet by 3 years.
Okay, so what he just said, I chopped up the editing a little, my high-tech editing. What they say is that the way they travel through space is that the satellite will come from its trajectory from Earth, come close to the planet, and then use the planet's gravity to just whip around, whip, and then like, so it goes like, it comes in, it like spins around, it orbits the planet, and then faster, and then the gravity it uses the planet's gravity to slingshot itself out. So the thing is, where that came from was a guy, I think it was like a physicist or astronomer, who was going he was going to university, and he kind of sketched out that concept on his notebook paper. You know, just kind of drew it. Like he had an idea of what fake space was, and he came up with a way that they could catapult themselves around the universe by using planets' gravitational fields as a slingshot. And that's how just some guys like daydream, and here we are. That's the way it worked, and that's how they do it. You know, why don't they just accelerate the engines? But anyway, I mean, it's just, that's obvious. You know, just a made up fantasy that somebody thought of, and the powers that be took it and ran with it and said, yeah, that's how we maneuver through space. You know.
The maneuver is known as a gravity assist and allowed the spacecraft the chance to collect new valuable information about the gas giants, its moons, and its ring system.
A little more about that.
In February 2007, the now distant spacecraft made its closest approach to Jupiter and captured many magnificent photographs of the gas giant's swirl.
Now this looks pretty cool. This might be real, like close-ups. They have good telescopes. They've got telescopes better than my friend who went to Joshua Tree with her family, which looks like what we saw previously. You know, this could be them zooming real close into that heavenly body, Jupiter, or it could be a CGI. I don't know. Looks pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like this is like what she got. I've seen this. You can buy a telescope from Big 5 and see this, man, yourself. You could see this with a P900 camera, but you can't really. You can zoom into the moon like this close, but not Jupiter. So anyway, but again, it wasn't done by a flyby. This is, if it's either fake CGI or it's just zoomed in real nicely with a good telescope. That, by the way, we're not allowed to look through. You can look where they point it, but you can't just point, like go to Griffith Observatory and ask them to point it or something. No, good luck, Charlie. We ain't point it where you guys want. Get past this.
Close-up photos of Jupiter's largest moons because of its eye, and was captured when New Horizons was 1.5 million miles away from the moon.
Well, 1.5 million. So, and now here's what I was talking about. There are objects floating around that look like this in the firmament. I mean, I'm gonna say space and stuff because just that's the way I've been talking for 100 years. I've been on this planet. But here's the goofy thing about this. Where's this backlight coming from? Because that means that this is reflected light. If the sun is on this side and it's lighting this side, it works until we get to here. You know, this should just be black like the moon is. When we look up at the moon, we don't see like the other side of it lit. So maybe that's just kind of enhancing that image. But this could be a real a close-up of a moon.
A huge plume of volcanic debris that is illuminated by the sun as it slowly drifts down onto Io's night side can be seen at the top of the image. Jupiter's largest moon, Ganymede, was captured from a distance of 2.2 million miles away, revealing dark patches of ancient terrain and a surface that
All right, and again, how do we know it was this is another one? They're claiming that their spaceship is flying around taking these pictures and like moving from point A to point B at will and just photographing all the planets and moons. I don't see any indication of movement. How come we can watch this whole video, but there won't be one instance where we see like a flyby, like you know like the satellite flies by and we just see it from all angles. That was just a straight on image. Same with same with this. We do see moons flying by, but it's shot straight on. The satellite is not traveling. Why don't can't we fly around and see the backside of this Jupiter and get that halfway lit look for the gas giant? We don't get that.
Seeing quality, gradually revealing new distinct features of the mysterious icy world.
Looks like CGI to me.
This refined, ultra-high resolution true color image shows us what Pluto would look like if we could see it with our own eyes.
So
it was taken in July 2000.
He just told you it's a CGI.
Of 22,025 miles away.
I don't know why he's playing around with that. It could look like this if we have a good telescope, you know. But he's saying that they did it again with the infrared or something, and then just kind of composed this image to see what it would look like if we saw it with our own eyes. I think it would look like this through a good telescope, but it doesn't matter. It's not shot again from a moving satellite moving through space, spaceship.
Close-ups of Pluto's diverse terrain.
Close-ups of Pluto could be, maybe not. Could be some packet like styrofoam packaging too. Who knows? But again, no indication of a moving of a spaceship flying by a planet videotaping with a high-def camera. I don't see that. It just stills.
Color-enhanced image that reveals a young surface that is made up of cratered valleys and once again created from refined data, and shows us what the moon would look like if we could see it with our own eyes.
If we could see it with our own eyes. Well, looks like, I mean, again, he's saying that. I guess they want us, I don't know, they want us to think that they've got different ways of seeing stuff with infrared and blah, blah, blah. So to make it harder for us to keep up and apply common sense. But whether this is a composite or not, again, I've seen stuff like this that isn't the moon. Venus kind of looks like that. So, you know, no problem. Either way, CGI, composite, or actual photo. The point of this video is I'm not seeing movement. That this moon is being shot from a camera anchored to a moving spaceship.
These blurry but still impressive images of Pluto's smaller moons, Styx, Nix, Kerberos, and Hydra were taken.
These are smaller moons of Pluto. They're not like round. And they're smaller objects. I thought size was relative, like in space. How there is, so, you know, everything's like relative, but Why are there small objects and big objects? You know, is it small compared to what? Big compared to what? You know, but I guess that's if they're small, they're not perfect round spheres. At what point does it become a sphere? If it's all made out of atoms, all this stuff is like equally bigger because the atom is so tiny. And then weird too, the names like Styx, Nyx, Kybros, and Hydra. I know Styx is like a mythical river. Nyx I never heard of. Kiberos I never heard of, but it sounds like mythology, Greek mythology. Hydra, isn't that like a monster, like that snake, flying snake monster? The religion of the earth never changed. The pagan worship of demons, and they put all those things in the heavens above us to give them predominance. I don't know if that's the right word, man. But these are the gods that they worship. The world who worship the demons worship these things, you know. And they use those names. It's Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Venus. How come it's not, you know, they don't give them different names? No, it's not by accident. You know, this stuff it's a religion.
Using New Horizons long-range reconnaissance imager
Oh,
and
sure.
revealed their highly elongated shapes that are thought to be typical of small bodies in the Kuiper Belt.
Sure.
Back over 50 gigabytes of data.
More cartoon.
But its mission wasn't over yet, as its next destination was the mysterious Kuiper Belt object unofficially known as Ultima Thule.
Let me see something.
Miles. New Horizons had finally completed its flyby of the Pluto system in January 2000. After more than 9 years and 3 billion miles, New Horizons had finally completed its flyby of the Pluto system in January 2000.
And how are they controlling this thing? Billions of miles, and what remote control are they using to guide it, like to turn left and right, up and down? You know how far that is, man. Who's got the joystick that's, you know, just flying this drone around with the remote control, man? But like kind of far, billions of miles.
16. The incredible spacecraft collected colossal amounts of information during its approach,
this cartoon
and departure, sending back over 50 gigabytes of data.
See how it's moving?
Its mission wasn't over yet, as its next destination was the mysterious Kuiper Belt object unofficially known as Ultima Thule.
You only see movement when it's a cartoon. How come we didn't see this object filmed from this spaceship while it's moving around? That's what I'm talking about. All we see is just stills, some CGIs, some real telescope shots, but always from based on Earth. The only time we see movement is when it's a cartoon.
In January 2019, 3 years after its Pluto encounter, New Horizons had finally arrived at the strange object at the edge of the solar system, nearly 4 billion miles away from Earth.
4 billion miles, they're controlling it.
This image was taken just minutes before the probe's closest approach.
I don't know, it could be a potato, could be an object far out there. I don't know.
The little world measures approximately 18 miles in diameter and is made up of 2 almost spherical lobes that were gravitationally attracted to one another.
Amazing. How come everything isn't stuck together?
New Horizons is currently more than 4 billion miles away from Earth and is scheduled to continue studying the Kuiper Belt until at least 2021. But according to NASA, the spacecraft has enough power and fuel to operate until the late 2030s, which could result in many more extended missions, perhaps even a mission outside of the solar system, studying interstellar space with its predecessors, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2.
Amazing. It goes a long way with the fuel, man. I wish my car went that far with fuel. Could go for like 40 years. Yeah. Well, science.
I really hope you
Science
enjoyed this
fiction.
video. If you did, then please
I
hit
enjoyed
the
it.
like button, share, and subscribe.
I
If
enjoyed
you'd
it,
like
buddy.
to help support my channel, then please head on down
Yeah,
to
I
the
want to
description
support. Where
where
I
you can find a
give you
link to my
$100
Patreon
bucks.
page.
I'll give you
Thank you
$100
so
bucks.
much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye bye.